One of the things that we really want to get people across today is that be curious, be open. Adoption is not really an option. How do we address the concern? And this is an ongoing topic in media, and we'll get into application, by the way, because I know people want to know, like, well, where do I start and what do I do? And we're going to talk about that. But I also want to address fears and concerns people may have. So one of those is I put my stuff in here, and then everyone has access to it, or Big Brother's watching me, and I don't want my information out there. So we just kind of covered subscriptions can protect us in that regard, and getting like an enterprise level subscription is really important. Additionally, there are folks who are nervous that AI is going to replace their job. They're going to lose their job, and I think there are probably some sectors and I'll just this is my perspective. I think a lot of industries are going to be massively disrupted because of even in the family business advising space. If you're getting paid just to give advice on how to put together governance structures, I don't know how much you're needed, because you can load all the top experts into AI, or tell them who you want to reference, and you could ask those specific questions to AI and get specific answers. And that's what you're paying someone for advice for. I could see a field like that with someone that just that's all they do. I could see disruption there. Accounting services, a field that could be disrupted. Bookkeeping could be like, I know we can go all these things that we pay people to do that are like keeping track of things, labeling things, looking at data, assessing data, looking for trends. And back at 3M, we used to have people called shopper marketers and business analysts, and we give them POS data, and they'd look at the data, and then they'd figure out, they'd put everything in Excel, and they would look at the Excel spreadsheets, and they'd say, oh, these are what's selling. This is what's not selling. Here's how to improve the mix. Here are some options. I ran some scenarios through Excel, and it would take them hours and hours, Jack, to load this, and it was really worthwhile. But that whole job, that's gone. That particular job of that business analyst job, sure, that person might be able to be one person over 10. And that one person, now they could just take the same POS, load it into AI, and ask it 5 questions and get even better scenarios and better planning and more information in a matter of minutes. I mean, that's you talk about efficiency. But I think, how do we address? I don't want to support AI and then bring an AI in. And my concerns with AI, because I think I'm going to replace myself and move myself out of a job. How do you handle it and field that question?
The question of how do you try to encourage folks on your team,
Yeah.
or just people personally, you don't have a choice, I think, is like, and I don't mean that like an authoritarian way, but what I mean is that the technology's here. The technology could stop today, and it would take like 10 years for the rest of the world to like catch up, particularly in non-technical industries. And so I think, I always draw the parallel to, where AI was really focused first. The beam of investment was on coding, because if you have AI that can proficiently, write code, build data structures, it's able to make itself better. The model is able to improve itself. And so the same way that, in 3 years, like I went from managing a team of 10 engineers to now, like, the same output can totally be done with 10 engineers and a designer, to the entire output can be done with like a PM and maybe an engineer or two for supervision. Like, it's completely switched. And I'm just starting in the software industry because that's where the impact has started. It's going to continue to come down to everywhere else. You're starting to see it with customer service and customer success and call centers. You're starting to see it in all of these other areas. And what I want to emphasize is like what's happened in software development. Like if any of you have friends or folks that that are in computer science, like the advice was like, go get a computer science degree. Everyone was telling their kids that 3-4 years ago. And now it's like, it's really tough to get a job. Unless you're someone who knows how to orchestrate these tools and this technology. And so kind of, Chris, the point that I'm making is the technology is something that you need to embrace, or else, like you said, you'll, depending on your industry and depending on how, it's not an if, it's a when.
Yeah. So I was just saying is that one of the things that we really want to get people across today is that be curious, be open. Adoption is not really an option. And if you really want to have a competitive edge and you want to leverage technology, and it's okay not to know, and it's okay to own our ignorance and to seek out, here we are, this is part of the reason we're here, is to seek out answers. And I'm leveraging you as an auxiliary to the market, specifically for this case. So Jack, let's talk about, because I can already see into, as I see a company, I could see right away places they can leverage AI, but perhaps they're maybe not connecting the dots, and you can too. And just like anything else, like if you're doing strategic planning, AI can be used in strategic planning, by the way, also. Um, it could be another member of your team to have. But regardless, as we, at any type we're driving change in an organization, we're really only good at doing one or two things at a time in a company. Trying to do five things at once, seven things at once is not helpful. And when we're dealing with AI, we're also talking about adoption. Any type we're taking an IT, an ERP system, where we're trying to integrate some type of change across the spectrum of a business system and a family system, adoption is always one of the hindrances, one of the bottlenecks, because getting people to work with and use and leverage a new technology, a new tool, a new software is commonly an issue, and we just want to embrace that that's commonly an issue, and that it is what it is, and we're going to work with it where we are and continue to hold course. So anytime we're looking at change, what my inputs always is hold course. Because whenever we say we're going to do something, when people are like, oh, is this another shiny object? Is this going to be flavor of the day? Is this going to be around in 90 days? Are you just going to change it again? And the answer is, with AI, you might be changing a solution, you might be changing an offering, you might be changing an approach, but you're going to be integrating it and leveraging it ongoingly. And we want to just let people know that, hey, we're going to, in fact, I would suggest building a committee and or a task force where you want to start leveraging AI instrumentally and strategically within your company. And that could be around a pain point.